Yesterday I had the pleasure of having a meeting with Vedran. Vedran is from Croatia. He's got 25 years of software development experience. He started coding when he was 8, similar to me. And our stories overlaps significantly. Vedran too at some point realized that everything we're doing in software development best practices is basically rubbish. So he just did format C and started coding applications, entire applications in SQL. For them to create a generator that generates front-end TypeScript files, allowing him to create the entirety of his apps in PostgreSQL, using PostgreSQL as an HTTP server, and writing business logic in SQL. So as you can see from Vedran's own explanation, there are several significant advantages by working that way. Among other things, he has a single source of truth, doesn't have 25 files when he's creating his applications. There are significant simplifications related to deployments and stuff like that. But instead of me waving my hands and explaining everything Vedran does, why don't you see for yourself?
Yeah, here's Vedran from Croatia, my fellow mate in crimes when it comes to keeping things stupid simple. So me and Vedran both share a common philosophy, which is basically that everything needs to be ridiculously simple, and that software development today is in a state of chaos because of over-engineering, astronaut architecture, and way too much complexity. So, but why don't you introduce yourself, Vedran?
Well, I am a software developer. I was born as a very young person, and I started writing software at the age of, it was 8 or 9, I believe.
Nice.
No, I was just trying to understand how BASIC works. And somewhere in the elementary school, I wanted to create a video game because I couldn't go out and play like other children. I don't want to get into those reasons, but I'm doing this job for many years. And so we are sharing the screens, right?
Yeah. The users can see your screen.
Talking about that, then. So what you see here is a simple Postgres function. It's great because it's declarative.
But hey, man, there's no DDD there. For crap's sake.
Sorry about that.
Where's your design patterns, mates, and OOP?
This is a simple Postgres function, right? It's called compute. Its schema is compute, and it's called intervals. It should be maybe better name, but doesn't matter. It's completely declarative. It says declaration that it returns JSON. It's another declaration is that is the language is SQL. Another declaration is that is immutable. It means that it always returns the same value for the same parameters. It doesn't even have parameters. It's safe to do parallel calls. And it just returns a simple JSON that describes some intervals that users can select in application. The reason I put it in the function, because I can easily change it whenever I need it. For example, I can just press F5, and as you can see, this entire function was recreated without recompiling, without redeploying, without anything like that. Right? And
but where is your continuous integration and your continuous deploy? Where is your multiple environments?
There's nothing like that. And if you can see this call here, it calls a stored procedure called sysannotate, which is in the system schema, and it says this function name, compute intervals, will be REST endpoint type get. And it will require authorize. It will require use authorized token to be able to call, and it will have a certain cache attached to this. It's basically maximum cache. It will never expire. And when I build my front-end project, we can see, we can copy this, and as you can see here in the compute API, let's find it. Here it is. It's this endpoint. From this endpoint, I am able to automatically generate the fetch command, which I don't have to write, right? And as you can see in this, this is compute API, which is in the schema compute. And it's everything you see in this file, everything is automatically generated. It even has comments that describes what this function is. Everything here is automatically generated. And because this is a TypeScript, right, it also created this file, which these are all requests and responses for this function, right? Let's return.
So you're generating TypeScript based upon the arguments of of basically an SQL function inside of PostgreSQL.
That is
so obviously at some point PostgreSQL is exposing metadata or something that allows you to generate the TypeScript code, right?
Right. This is the server. If you see in the left side, application is shutting down. Let's clear the screen. Let's start it again. It's wrapped in the npm command, but okay. So what happened in here? As we can see, using connection, setting cookie authentication with scheme name cookies, and then it found the function get user details with a common annotation, which means it needs to generate something from that. And for all these functions, it's created the end. It says that it created the endpoint with certain parameters like command timeout. Some of them are raw, not in the JSON, and it goes. Okay. It's also created HTTP files. These are the files for the testing, right? So you can send a request here, and it returns. It says unauthorized. Of course, because this endpoint requires authorization. It says user details. This is also automatically generated. I'm just writing basically functions and generating lots of code so that I don't have to write myself, which is great. It saves me a lot of time and my development is much faster. And when something changes on the server by me or by someone else in the team, when I run the build again, I will get type errors because as you can see, there's also those interfaces that are created from those functions. Let's so we can see here created HTTP file, created endpoint. It should be saying here that it created also.
And it executed in 36 milliseconds, so it's obviously blistering fast, right?
Yes.
Now you've built some open source tools and components.
Yes, it started less than a second. Yeah? It automatically generated a bunch of files. So as you can see in the HTTP, these are all automatically generated. Everything is automatically generated in here, and also in here, there's lots of files. It says header auto-generated that blah blah. I put this in the configuration. This is development configuration. It says TS client. This is an error. I changed it into the. Okay, so this is the default configuration. It's a little bit longer.
So basically, I'm looking at 23 lines of PostgreSQL SQL, which actually creates a function in PostgreSQL. Now it's an HTTP method. It requires authorization. It adds HTTP cache. It does lookups into the database. Now, if I were to think from like a C# software developer's point of view, I would need a service. I would need an interface. I would need, IOC. I would need a controller. I would need a view model. I would need a model. We're talking about 1,000 lines of code, roughly, and you've got 23 here. 23 lines of code replacing 1,000 lines of code.
Yeah, I missed something in configuration. It didn't actually generate those TypeScript files. Now it does. It says generated TypeScript file here. So those interfaces are all generated automatically. And when something changes on the server, this automatically generated file will also be changed. That means that I have a static type checking on my Postgres server. If you understand. Okay. So let's give some practical example. And this is a little bit more complicated, or let's do something like, no, compute group, no. Okay, let's max timestamp. Okay, let's do max timestamp. Let's find it in here. Compute API, file. Okay, this is the one. And if I change something in here, let's say test text file, I added another parameter, right? I cannot do after default. Of course. Okay, now it's automatically generated. And when I restart my build, which is very fast, and I see this request, it says test. See? It's a miracle.
Can we look at the TypeScript files that are generated? Do you have access to showing them?
Which files?
The TypeScript files, because you're generating a front-end HTTP proxy object.
I'm showing to you. If I'm. Oh no. I was sharing only this.
Yeah, you're sharing only pgadmin or something, or your editor or something. Just click stop sharing and share your whole screen or something, or another window.
Entire screen, and that's right. Okay. Okay, so as you can see here.
Nice. And all this was automatically generated, right?
All this is automatically
with comments and everything. How many lines of code are these?
This one module has 500 lines.
Nice.
This one has 130 lines. This one has 88. But
is
then
this React? Is this React code?
No, this is Svelte. And this is Svelte. You use it in anywhere.
Svelte.
Okay, so I was thinking that you are actually seeing.
No, it's fine.
That sucks. Okay, so what I did here. Okay, what I did here. So this is the compute max timestamp. This corresponds to this function, right? And I added this test parameter, but now I will remove it. Execute again. Okay,
and now it's gone.
No, I need to restart the server. Okay. And it sees
now it's gone.
It's gone. It's gone. It said created TypeScript files, created bunch of files, and it done everything. It created bunch of files. It created this HTTP files, which is for testing, right? You can click here, send request, and you can test your API. Does it work?